AITA for cutting off my family for forcing me back with my ex who cheated with my brother? Before getting into this mess, let me give you some background. Growing up in a small town near Milwaukee, I always thought my family was my rock. We were not the type to leave things hanging or go months without talking. My brother Leo and I were close in that competitive way typical of two boys under the same roof. He was a year younger than me, and we were always compared. He was the charmer, the free spirit. I was the one with a plan. Our sister Chloe was the youngest, my mom's shadow, soaking up every bit of attention available. Our parents, Carol and Rob, embodied the typical Midwestern parents. Mom ran the house with an iron fist, and Dad was the type to tell jokes and grill steaks like it was a sacred art. I thought I had it all figured out. A stable family, siblings I trusted, and a fiancée I believed was my soulmate. Olivia came into my life during a group project in my junior year of college. She had this magnetic energy that made you want to stay in her orbit. She was ambitious, confident, and incredibly beautiful. I fell hard and fast. By the end of the semester, we were a couple. Everything moved quickly, but I did not ask questions. It felt perfect. I was already imagining our future careers, kids, everything. In November, I proposed to her. Nothing grand, just the two of us on a fall evening. She said yes, and we started planning our wedding for the following summer. It felt like the beginning of the life I had always dreamed of. Then everything blew up. One Friday in March, I had an unexpectedly quiet day at work. I decided to surprise Olivia with her favorite takeout so we could spend the evening together. Walking into our apartment, I immediately sensed something was off. Her shoes were by the door, but the place was eerily quiet, except for a faint noise coming from the bedroom. My stomach tied in knots. Something was wrong, but I tried to be rational. Maybe she was watching a video or on the phone. When I opened the bedroom door, my world shattered. They were there, Olivia and Leo, tangled together in our bed. Olivia was wearing the oversized t-shirt I had gotten her for Valentine's Day, the one with the cheesy heart printed on it. There was no mistaking what I was seeing. They froze like two deer caught in the headlights. It's crazy how loud silence can be. The air was heavy, suffocating. Leo, my own brother, dared to say, "It's not what you think." I looked at him, almost laughing at the absurdity. Olivia said nothing, just trying to cover herself with the blanket as if that could erase the scene. I did not yell. I did not ask questions. What for? The truth was right there. I looked at him and said, "Grab your things and get out." My voice was calm, steady. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing me explode. Leo tried to speak, to say it just happened, but I cut him off. "You don't exist to me anymore." I had no desire to listen to his excuses or his fabricated remorse. It just happened, when you have an inappropriate relationship with your brother's fiancée. I left without another word. I grabbed my keys and went to a friend's house. That night, staring at the ceiling, reality hit me. My fiancée, the woman I wanted to marry, and my brother, who I trusted, had betrayed me in the worst way. It was not just the infidelity. It was the fact that they actively chose to destroy what mattered to me. The next day, I thought things could not get worse, but of course they did. While I was at work, Olivia moved out. I had already told her to leave, so I figured it was over. But when I got home that evening, I found a letter on the counter, exactly where our framed photo used to be. A few lines, anything but sweet. She wrote that she had fallen in love with Leo and never wanted to hurt me. Then came some nonsense about hoping I could forgive them someday. She even ended with, "I hope you can be happy for us one day." Happy for them. I almost burst out laughing. It was so insulting it became almost comical. I crumpled the letter and threw it away. There was nothing left to say. The apartment felt empty without her things, but I did not care. I wanted her out of my life as fast as possible. It was done. My family found out what happened within a few days. I did not tell them. I imagine Olivia or Leo did. My mom, Carol, called me right away. She was furious. Not at me, at Leo. She kept repeating that she could not believe one of her children could do something like that to me. "He's no longer welcome here," she said over and over. At first, it felt good, but I knew it would not last. My mom's loyalty is conditional. She's the type to brag about being the glue of the family, even if it means sweeping the worst betrayals under the rug. I knew that sooner or later, she would start defending Leo again. My dad, Rob, was a different story. When I finally picked up one of his calls, he just sighed. You know, these things happen. I was stunned. No anger, no shock, nothing. He spoke as if Leo had spilled coffee on my shirt, not destroyed my relationship and my trust. Chloe, my little sister, tried to be on my side, but she was torn. She called to tell me she could not believe what they had done, but her voice betrayed her hesitation. She was stuck between me and the rest of the family. It was obvious. For weeks, I ignored their calls. I did not have the energy to repeat everything or hear their excuses telling me to move on. I threw myself into work. It was the only thing keeping me somewhat standing. My boss, Mark, noticed I was putting in a lot of hours and asked what was wrong. I did not tell him the whole story, but I admitted I was going through a tough time. That's when he told me about the Indianapolis office. He was looking for someone to lead the team there. He thought I was perfect for the job. A promotion and, above all, a chance to leave Milwaukee, far from Leo, Olivia, and all this chaos. I did not hesitate. I said I was interested. When I told my parents my decision, my dad just said, "That's good. A fresh start might do you good." My mom, on the other hand, reacted as if I had announced I was moving to Mars. She cried, begged, insisted. "What about family dinners? And Christmas? You can't just leave us behind, Ethan." I told her I was not abandoning them. I was abandoning Leo. "He's no longer part of this family," she stated firmly. I did not believe her. My mom has a habit of saying one thing and doing the exact opposite as soon as it suits her. In July, my intuition was confirmed. Leo was back home. One evening, she called to casually mention that they had decided to let him move back in for a while because he had nowhere to go. She acted like it was no big deal, like she was not welcoming the person who betrayed me into her home, while still expecting me to attend Sunday dinners. I did not even try to hide my anger. I told her it was a slap in the face that she was choosing Leo over me. She tried to justify it. "He's still my son. I can't kick him out." I replied, "Well, he's no longer my brother, and I want nothing to do with him." That's when she launched her campaign for family unity. She went into a long speech about healing, forgiveness, and the importance of moving on as a family. Jargon that really meant forgive Leo, so I don't feel guilty about taking him back. I did not take the bait. I told her clearly that I was not interested in forced healing or pretending everything was fine. "You want unity? Then stop rewarding the one who destroyed everything." I snapped before hanging up. After that, I kept my distance. Anyway, I was busy preparing for my move to Indianapolis. I found an apartment, packed my bags, and started fresh in a city where no one knew my family or my past. Leaving Milwaukee was not easy. I had good memories there, and part of me felt like I was letting Leo and Olivia win by leaving. But staying would have been worse. Every street, every restaurant, every shared memory, it all reminded me of what I had lost. Moving was the only real way to start over. By the time I left, I had practically cut all ties with my family. I no longer answered calls. I ignored messages. Even Chloe's attempts to stay neutral would not change anything. They had made their choice by taking Leo back. I made mine by leaving them behind. I did not know what the future held, but one thing was clear. I would never again be the good son who sacrifices everything for the sake of the family. From now on, I was putting my life first. It was time to rebuild on my own terms. A new start, and an old habit returns. By September, I had settled well into my new life in Indianapolis. Breaking away from my family had been the best decision I ever made, even if it was not easy. Work was going well. I was starting to make some friends, and most importantly, the distance was doing me good. Then my mom, Carol, called. Her birthday was coming up, and she wanted me to come home to celebrate. I hesitated. Our relationship had been strained ever since she reopened the door for Leo. But she insisted, "It will just be immediate family. I miss you." Against my better judgment, I agreed. The drive to my family's house gave me way too much time to overthink. I told myself I was doing this for my mom. All things considered, maybe it would not be so terrible if it was just my parents and Chloe. But as I pulled up to the house, I knew something was wrong. Way too many cars were parked outside. My stomach tightened when I recognized Leo's car in the driveway. I gripped the steering wheel. I considered turning around, but I did not want to give my mom the satisfaction of seeing me run away. I told myself I would go in, stay 5 minutes, then leave. As soon as I walked through the door, my mom jumped on me with a smile that was way too wide, as if nothing had ever happened. "Ethan, I'm so glad you came. She hugged me, exaggerating every gesture. Her overwhelming energy reeked of forced denial. I glanced into the living room, and there they were, Leo and Olivia, sitting on the couch as if everything was normal. Olivia was even laughing at a joke Chloe made right as I walked in. I froze. Why are they here? I asked, my voice low and cutting. My mom did not even answer. She simply grabbed my arm and dragged me toward the living room. Let's talk in the family room, she said, as if that would fix anything. In the living room, she started her usual speech about healing, family, and second chances. She sat me down, then went on about how Leo and Olivia made a mistake. They are truly sorry, and it is time to move forward. Leo shamelessly added, I'm sorry, man. It was a serious error in judgment, as if he had simply stained my shirt. Olivia followed up, we never wanted to hurt you. She looked even less sincere than he did. I looked at them, trying to understand if they actually believed their own nonsense. That they thought for a single second this could be fixed was almost comical. I leaned toward Leo, looking him dead in the eye. You're a pathetic excuse for a brother. Then to Olivia. And you. I hope he does the same thing to you. You deserve each other. Total silence. My mom opened her mouth to speak, but I stood up before she had the chance to say a word. I looked her right in the eyes. Enjoy your prodigal son. Don't call me again. I left the house. Behind me, I could hear my mom trying to calm everyone down, repeating that I would eventually come back. Leo said nothing. Olivia just stood there. I got into my car and drove off without looking back. All day I seethed. How could my mom believe this would blow over? That I would forgive? As if this was not a betrayal that had ravaged my life. I spent the evening fighting the urge to call her and give her a piece of my mind. But I knew it would be useless. She had made her choice the day she welcomed Leo and Olivia into her home. That night, I blocked her number. I blocked Leo too, even though he had not reached out to me in months. I knew that at some point, he or Olivia would try to talk to me, and I did not want to hear any of it. The following weeks, I buried myself in work. It became an escape. My coworkers probably thought I was just highly dedicated to my job. The truth is, I did not know what else to do with all that rage. I quit social media too. Seeing pictures of my family would only reopen the wounds. I kept telling myself I did not need them, that I could build my own version of a family with people who truly value me. Slowly, things got better. The distance helped. I was rebuilding something. But deep down, I knew it was not over. My mom never gave up. She would find a way to creep back into my life. Still, for now, I was okay. Living far from the denial, finally living for myself. January, Indianapolis becomes my real home. By January, life in Indianapolis was exactly what I needed. Away from all that chaos, I no longer woke up every morning with anger in my gut. I finally had space. That's when Jessica, a distant cousin, sent me a message. We barely knew each other, just a few quick encounters at family reunions, no more than 3 sentences exchanged. So when she wrote that she was moving to Indianapolis and might need help finding her way around, I was skeptical. At first, I hesitated to completely ignore her message. My family had proven time and time again that getting involved with them, even from a distance, was a mistake. But part of me felt bad. Jessica had never done anything to me, and maybe she did not even know the whole story. Plus, she seemed genuinely nervous about moving to a new city alone. Against my better judgment, I agreed to help her. When the weekend arrived, I drove to the address she had sent me. It was a small apartment building in a quiet neighborhood, and everything seemed normal until I saw the moving truck. And especially 2 very familiar silhouettes unloading boxes, Leo and my dad. For a second, I froze. My fingers gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. My first instinct was to throw the car in reverse and disappear. But before I could move, the apartment door opened. My mom walked out. She spotted me immediately and waved as if this were a joyous family reunion instead of a trap. Ethan, wait, she yelled, running toward my car. I put the engine in park and stepped out, but I did not step forward. What is this circus? I asked, pointing at Leo and my dad, who were now frozen near the truck. My mom gave me her usual, let's all be reasonable, look and launched into a speech about how Jessica just needed a hand and that it was normal for family to stick together. But it was obvious this had nothing to do with Jessica. It was just another attempt to force me into a reconciliation. Leo, the undisputed master of the insincere apology, stepped forward, his eyes already looking misty. "I'm sorry, Ethan," he said in a trembling voice, as if he were auditioning for a play. "I know I messed up. I just want to fix things." I stared at him, completely cold. It was the same speech as at my mom's birthday, just as pathetic then as it was today. Then my dad decided to get involved. "Ethan, come on," he said in a tone mixing exasperation and condescension. His specialty when he felt I was being unreasonable. "You're holding on to this grudge, and it's tearing the family apart. Be the bigger person." That was the final straw. Him, telling me to be the bigger person, as if Leo's betrayal was a simple mistake to forgive, as if it was not my life they had trampled on. When my dad stepped closer and put his hand on my shoulder, I reacted without thinking. A serious incident occurred before I even realized what I was doing, and he was injured. The sharp sound froze the world for a second. My dad stumbled back, holding his jaw, eyes wide. Leo looked like he wanted to vanish, and my mom, of course, burst into sobs. "Ethan," she wailed, as if I were the one destroying everything. "How could you?" Leo mumbled something about me going too far, but I did not even bother replying. I turned back to my car. "Don't follow me," I said without looking back. When I got home, I immediately blocked Jessica. I did not care if she was an accomplice or just a pawn in my mom's new scheme. I wanted nothing to do with her. That evening, sitting on my couch, I tried to process what had happened. I was not proud of losing my temper, but I did not regret it either. My dad had crossed a line, and if that was what it took for him to understand that I would no longer be manipulated, so be it. The worst part was that none of this surprised me. My mom had always been ready to twist reality to protect Leo, and my dad only cared about one thing: keeping the peace without ever fixing the real problems. I wondered how long they had been planning this stunt. Had they been talking to Jessica for weeks? Did they push her to write to me? Or was it a last-minute improvisation? It did not matter. Deep down, all that mattered was that I had left before they could get to me again. The next morning, I woke up with a strange mix of relief and sadness. Relief that I had stood my ground. Sadness because it was yet another reminder that my family was beyond saving. There would be no repair. They would never understand the betrayal. They would never be willing to see it for what it was. That day, I burned the bridges even further. I was not going to give them another chance to drag me into their chaos. My life in Indianapolis was good, and I was not going to let it crumble because of them. No matter what they wanted, closure, forgiveness, a return to normal, I would give them nothing. I was done being the scapegoat, the sensible one expected to keep the family together while the others did whatever they wanted. From now on, I was only thinking about myself. They could keep their fake apologies and their forced family unity. I did not need any of it. A Christmas far from everything, but finally at peace. By December, I was in a much better emotional and mental state. Life in Indianapolis was stable, and I had started dating Sophie, 24, a woman who quickly became my rock. She was everything I needed: kind, funny, supportive, and most importantly, she respected my boundaries. She knew the whole story and never pushed me to reconnect with my family. Her family lived in Chicago, and she invited me to spend Christmas with them. It was the first time in years that I genuinely looked forward to the holidays. Her parents were warm and welcoming. Her siblings were lovely, and there was no tension, no drama, nothing that had always ruined family gatherings at my house. A week before Christmas, I received a letter. I almost did not open it. I did not recognize the handwriting. When I read it, my stomach tied in knots. It was from my mom. She told me that Leo and Olivia had gotten married, and that my parents were now separated. She did not explain why, but she kept repeating that the family needed me this Christmas. She begged me to come back, saying it could be a chance to heal, to move forward. I read the letter twice, trying to figure out what she really wanted. Was this about me? Or was it just another attempt to clean up the mess Leo caused? The mention of the marriage made me nauseous, a violent reminder that they had moved on with their lives without an ounce of shame. When I showed the letter to Sophie, she simply said, "You don't owe them anything. If it only hurts you, don't go." She was right, but a small part of me still felt a twinge of guilt. Not for cutting ties, but because of that sense of family duty my mom had always tried to instill in me. Ultimately, I chose to spend Christmas with Sophie's family. They lived in a cozy house in the Chicago suburbs. As soon as we arrived, I knew I had made the right choice. Her parents welcomed me with hugs. Her mom kept asking if I preferred hot chocolate or spiced cider. It was simple, sincere, and sweet in a way I had not experienced in a very long time. We spent Christmas Eve decorating the tree, baking cookies, and playing board games. It was the kind of Christmas I had always wanted but never truly had. Christmas morning was just as peaceful. The family had a tradition of opening presents in their pajamas. They had even made a Christmas stocking with my name on it. It was thoughtful. It was simple. It made me feel like I belonged. But even amid all this warmth, a corner of my mind remained fixed on my family. I could not help but wonder what they were doing. Was my mom home alone? Was my dad celebrating at all? Or were Leo and Olivia playing the happy couple while everyone else pretended everything was fine? I brushed those thoughts away and focused on the present moment. I was not going to let their drama ruin these moments for me. In January, as I settled back into my routine, I received an email from Chloe. I had not heard from her in months, so seeing her name in my inbox surprised me. Against my better judgment, I opened it. Chloe wrote that my dad was now living in a motel and that Leo and Olivia were having financial problems. She did not go into details, but hinted that Leo's job situation was unstable and that Olivia apparently was not happy in their marriage. I sat there staring at the screen, wondering why Chloe thought I needed to know all this. Was she looking for sympathy? Did she expect me to fly to their rescue? If so, she was going to be disappointed. I did not reply to the email. What could I have said? Sorry to hear that, but it is not my problem. I would not get dragged into their mess, no matter how bad things were getting for them. They made their choice and had to face the consequences. Yet, part of me felt a little satisfied. They were struggling. Even though I did not rejoice in their misery, I could not help but think karma was catching up to them. Leo and Olivia had destroyed my life. Now, their perfect little bubble was starting to crack. That evening, Sophie noticed I was quieter than usual and asked if everything was okay. I told her about the email. She nodded, her expression gentle but firm. You did the hardest part to get yourself out, she said. Don't let them pull you back in. She was right. I had spent too much time rebuilding my life to let their problems ruin everything now. What happened to my family was no longer my responsibility. The next morning, I deleted Chloe's email and blocked her address. It was not easy, but it was necessary. I would not let them eat away at my life with guilt or pity. That Christmas spent with Sophie's family was a turning point. For the first time, I understood what it meant to be truly free from the toxicity I grew up surrounded by. I did not need my family's approval or validation. I had found people who loved me for who I was, not for what I could do for them. The chaos of my past was no longer going to define me. I had built a new life, and I was not looking back. By the time June rolled around, I was proud of how far I had come. My life in Indianapolis was stable. My relationship with Sophie grew stronger every day, and my family was nothing more than a distant memory. I had blocked them all, ignored all their half-hearted attempts to reconnect, and was focusing entirely on myself. Of course, they had not had their final say. One Saturday morning, as I was getting ready to go for a run, there was a knock on my door. I was not expecting anyone. Looking through the peephole, I froze. It was Chloe. I had not seen her in over a year. For a moment, I considered pretending I was not home. Eventually, I opened the door, and she immediately started crying. Ethan, I'm so sorry, she said, stepping into the hallway before I could even invite her in. I should have defended you more. I should have done more. Her words caught me off guard. For so long, Chloe had been this passive presence in my life, never truly hurtful, but never really standing up for me either. Hearing her take her share of responsibility was unexpected, and I did not know how to react. I cut ties with Leo and Olivia, she continued. And Mom, I couldn't take it anymore. I crossed my arms and leaned against the doorframe. What do you want, Chloe? She hesitated, wiping her eyes. I just want to talk. Dad wants to talk too. Can we meet, please? I should have said no. Every fiber of my being was screaming at me to slam the door and get on with my day. But there was something in her eyes, pleading, desperate, that made me hesitate. Against my better judgment, I agreed. A few days later, we met at a quiet diner on the outskirts of the city. Chloe was already there when I arrived, sitting with our dad, Rob. I had not seen him since the incident outside Jessica's apartment, and the tension was palpable. He stood up as I approached, holding out his hand. I did not take it. I sat across from them and waited for one of them to speak. I'm sorry, My dad finally said, his voice low. I should have done more to protect you. I should have handled things differently. It was not much, but it was more than I expected. For a moment, I felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, we could salvage this. Then the diner door opened, and my mom walked in. I instantly tensed up. My dad looked embarrassed. She wanted to come, he said, as if that excused surprising me. And of course, right behind her were Leo and Olivia. I stood up, ready to leave, but Chloe grabbed my arm. Please, Ethan, listen to them. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. I stood up and cut them off before they could open their mouths. You're not my family anymore, I said in a cold, steady voice. You want forgiveness? Find someone else to manipulate. I'm done. I left money on the table for my coffee and walked out, ignoring their voices calling after me. That was the moment I knew there was no going back. They could beg, cry, and plead some more. I was done being the scapegoat for their dysfunction. Now, at 28, I feel like I have lived multiple lives since the family chaos. When I look back at all of it, it almost feels like someone else's life, as if it did not really happen. But the scars remind me that it was all very real. The good news is, I came out of it stronger, wiser, and surrounded by people who truly care about me. Sophie and I got engaged last year. Nothing spectacular, just the two of us in our favorite park in Indianapolis. I did not make any grand gestures because I had learned that true love does not need a spectacle. When I asked her to marry me, she cried and said yes immediately. That moment was the final piece of the puzzle I had been trying to put together since my life fell apart. She's not just my fiancée, she's my partner in every way. She has supported me through the ups and downs, listened without judging, and never pushed me to reconnect with the family I left behind. With her, I feel safe in a way I never thought possible after what Leo and Olivia did. The biggest news is that we are expecting our first child. It's a boy. Every time I imagine holding him for the first time, I am overwhelmed with excitement and apprehension. I never thought I would be ready to be a father after the chaos of my childhood, but Sophie's belief in us gives me hope. We will do everything to give our son a life full of love, respect, and stability. The kind of life I did not have. One of the first steps to definitively break from my family was changing my last name. I did not do it lightly. For a while, I thought it was too radical or that it would not change much. But as time went on, my last name felt like an anchor to the past, and I was ready to let it go. It felt strange standing in the courthouse filling out the paperwork. When the judge signed off on it, I felt an unexpected wave of relief, as if I had finally closed a door I had always been afraid to shut completely. I chose a last name that held meaning for me, tied to a personal hero rather than my family tree. Sophie fully supported me. She even joked that she would take my new name once we got married. We're starting our own legacy. That stuck with me. The idea of creating something new, separate from all the pain and betrayal, became my goal. I've heard bits and pieces of what is going on with my family since I cut them out of my life. Not because I go looking for news, but because mutual acquaintances sometimes let information slip. Apparently, my parents are officially separated now. My dad lives in a tiny rental on the outskirts of town, and my mom is still in the family home, trying to keep up appearances. Leo and Olivia, let's just say karma has not been kind to them. They are drowning in debt, and from what I hear, their marriage is seriously on the rocks. Olivia lost her job, and Leo has no professional stability. The irony is not lost on me. After everything they did to tear me down, they're the ones struggling to keep their heads above water. As for Chloe, her fiancé left her a few months before their wedding. I do not know the details, and honestly, I do not want to know. She chose to support Leo and Olivia when it mattered most, and that is something I cannot forgive. The last time I heard from any of them directly was over a year ago when my mom sent me yet another letter begging me to get back in touch. I did not even open it. I threw it away immediately. Their regret, if they have any, is a burden they have to carry themselves, not me. One of the greatest lessons I've learned from all this is the importance of setting boundaries. For so long, I let my family manipulate me, guilt-trip me into forgiving, and make me believe their problems were my responsibility. Cutting them out of my life was not easy, it was chaotic, but it was the only way to truly move forward. Sometimes, I wonder if my family looks back on their choices with regret. Do they think about the pain they caused? Do they realize what they lost by betraying me? I will probably never know, and I am fine with that. Their regret, or lack thereof, changes nothing. What matters is that I have finally found peace. Comment. It's incredibly hard to walk away from the people we thought would always be there for us. Protecting your mental health often means making the difficult choice to establish firm boundaries. True self-respect requires us to remove ourselves from environments where our trust is repeatedly broken. Healing is a personal journey that doesn't require you to accept toxic patterns just to keep the peace. You have every right to choose your peace of mind over someone else's comfort. True family is built on mutual respect, genuine kindness, and unwavering support, rather than just a shared last name. Rebuilding your life from scratch takes immense courage, but leaving the pain behind opens the door to authentic happiness. I hope this reminds you that your well-being should always be your top priority. Never feel guilty for walking away from what hurts you in order to protect your heart. Please share your thoughts below, and always remember to be kind to yourself today. If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.